I will say, Ryan, to this day, when I watch that film and that 928 goes into, Lake Michigan, my heart stops.
This week on That Car Show, we enter the inaugural meeting of That Car Show Book Club, where we have Chad and Matt, editors of Ride, the most iconic wheels of the silver screen. And we talk about the book, which seems to have been a labor of love. Everything from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang all the way through to the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Lots of great car talk, lots of great movie talk, and just hanging with some cool guys. Tune in, listen, and enjoy. It's That Car Show.
It's That Car Show, and it's Dan and me tonight talking about a pretty impressive new car book that's out. It's called Ride, the most iconic wheels of the silver screen, and that's exactly what it is. It's 34 of the most memorable cars ever captured on film, and I think one motorcycle, and an exceptionally well-executed coffee table book. And we've got two of the book's three editors here with us today, Chad Oppenheim and Matt Stone. Chad is an internationally renowned architect and speaker with studios in Miami and Basel. Matt's a journalist and broadcaster. He's also the former editor of Motor Trend Classic magazine. He's also a judge at both Pebble Beach and Amelia Island. So, guys, welcome to That Car Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honor.
Good to be.
How'd this book come about? And how'd you decide on the cars that made the cut?
Well, I will ask Chad to answer the first question of how it came about, because he's a little closer to the publishing and project manager side than I was. So start there, Chad, if you would, at how this all came about. And then we can talk about the arm wrestling over lists of movies. And
for sure. So this is part of a film series that I've been publishing. The first one was Lair, which is about the iconic movie villain homes in all the films. Like, all the bad guys live in really good homes. And then the follow-up to that was this idea of a car, motorcycle, vehicle book from films. So it's part of a whole series of books where we look at different aspects of film, mostly design-centric, architecture, cars, automotive design, and really uncover and go really deep dive into a lot of fascinating information that people don't generally know about these incredible things that they've grown up with.
And it's broken down into 7 sections, and I think they're speed cars, hero cars, outlaw cars, possessed, sci-fi, comedy, and music. And I do like that there's one section that features cars that are possessed. Like, there were enough of those for their own section. But beyond that, they're the cars you expect to see, right? Like, there's the Back to the Future DeLorean. There's the 59. I always knew it was a Cadillac. I guess it's a Cadillac Miller Meteor, which must have been like an outfitter or something, right, from Ghostbusters. And of course, James Bond's Aston Martin DB5. But they're also what you might call some deep cuts. What would you call the deep cuts maybe that you included?
Matt,
cuts. Define me deep cuts.
Well, the Stripes GMC RV was maybe one I wasn't expecting to see, right?
That was one that was on all three of our lists almost simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because it's just so out there.
Yeah.
We figured it had to be. And to update your original statement, we have 3 motorcycles and one motorhome.
Okay.
So it's not just about 4 wheels, but we got a lot of burning rubber here.
Right.
The Stripes film, I mean, just that moment where they're protecting the special weapon vehicle, and then they decide to take it for a spin, and it's just like, and then they go into like Yugoslavia when it's communist, and they have to get out of there, and they become heroes. It's just, and Bill Murray is just incredible in that film. So it was a lot of it is from the things that we were moved by in childhood and have kept with us throughout the years.
Yeah, Chad, I saw in the book that you tell a story about when you were a kid, and I think you grew up in New York, right?
New Jersey. I was born in New York.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
And you had a set of grandparents who every time they came to visit you, they'd gift you a new Matchbox car.
Yeah.
And those are the gateway drugs, aren't they?
Yeah, I love them to death, but the Matchbox car was like an extra bonus of seeing like my lovely grandparents, my mother's parents, and yeah, they would drive from Bayside, Queens to, New Jersey, probably 2 hours every weekend and somehow go, get me a little Matchbox car. So I had hundreds of these Matchbox cars that I used to play with and race around and it was just a incredible, first love of something was these cars.
Are there any cars that either made it in or didn't make it in that caused either arguments or intense debate? I'm curious, like, what was the process there?
I would say it never was an argument. Never.
Really?
Yeah. There were the 4 or 5 of us, and I mean, this is a team, truly. And everybody, oh yeah, we're a great team. You know what? This was a great team. We all got along. We leaned on each other. We helped each other. Sometimes we corrected each other, whatever the case may be. But it was extremely inclusive, and we just had a blast doing this. I hope you have as much fun reading it as we did building it. It was just, like, okay, well, the book, if we don't stop, will be 900 pages and 68 pounds and $100 million a copy.
Yeah. Which in fact it was, right? And
you're getting there. It is the book has girth, right? Let's say that. Yeah.
It's incredibly heavy and rich and beautifully printed. And but we originally had 50 cars and Matt almost got it. It was over 600 pages.
Really?
And so there's probably a second volume there, even for the movie cars. But, we started with a list of a couple of hundred and we kept weeding it down. And, but there's a couple of ones that didn't make the cut that, I miss, but we had no choice but to kind of.
Yeah, we all lobbied a little bit, but at the end, it was basically a consensus vote. It was an equal team. And none of us really had put your foot down say over anybody else. So we got to consensus, and at some point you say, well, okay, between these two, but that one's really a little more like this one, and that one is kind of close to that one, so maybe that one can go. And it was just organic, and we did it all in meetings just like this. We had Zoom meetings, and we held up magazines and books and said why this should be in or needs to go. I will say I want to make the point that why are these cars there? Some of them are there, many of them are there because they're fantastic. They're memorable, they're iconic, whatever word you want to use. And there's a few of them there that are there because they're dreadful. but they're memorable. And some of these are like iconic. Well, yeah, maybe because it's such a weird, stupid car, or it's iconic because it is. Of course, we had to cut down to 3 James Bond features. There's only 3. Could have been, of course, there are many books, the cars of James Bond films, and you can get those, and they're great. And we referred to them in this book, but it was just an ongoing discussion, check and balance, and somehow we got down to the package you hold in your hand. And I, for one, hope there's volume 2 because we've got 25% of the material done.
That's amazing.
I know you guys are asking the questions, but what do you think is missing? Or like if you were to each pick one car, what do you think?
God, I mean, every time I looked, you had, the ones I had in mind, I mean, for me, there were 3 that really stuck out. I'm a Chicago guy, so my personal favorites are, the Blues Brothers. What is it? The Dodge Monaco, Ferris Bueller's 61 250 GT, California Spinner replica, right? Which I think not everyone knows. And that's currently at the Peterson, I think, at the moment. And the one that really hit home, just growing up and watching these movies filmed on the North Shore of Chicago, the 78 Porsche 928 from Risky Business. That was it for me. So let me think about what might be missing. But those are the 3 that I looked for as soon as I cracked
I will
open the
say,
book.
Ryan, to this day, when I watch that film and that 928 goes into Lake Michigan, my heart stops. It's just like, the same thing with Ferris Bueller when like Cameron's kicking that car. I'm like, please don't let this happen. You
I
know,
know, I know, I know. I
So
know
it could
it's
be the Brit in me. But I
yeah.
don't think Chitty Chitty Bang Bang's in there, is it?
it
Yes, it is.
is.
Oh, it is. I
It,
need to
It
reread it.
is. It
Okay.
is.
we can edit that out, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
We love
there's
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
yeah.
I
And in
promise
fact,
I have read it. It's here.
yeah, yeah.
It's a big book.
In fact, Mark Newson, who's one of the world's most incredible industrial designers, and is working with Johnny Ive of Apple
Oh, yeah.
fame, designing the new electric Ferrari. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was his favorite car growing
No
up,
kidding. Oh,
Yeah.
no kidding. Huh.
because he used to play around like building soapbox cars to race in Australia. And he felt like a very deep connection with Chitty Chitty
Sure.
Bang Bang because it was kind of like made in the backyard.
Yeah.
But that's great,
Love
Dad.
it.
Yeah,
Love it.
I love it. So no one had any missing ones.
No, there is one, and it is. So we had Robert Nagel on recently on the show, and I don't know if you guys know Robert Nagel.
I
Sounds
know who he
looks
is.
you-
Yeah.
Hell of a guy, great guy. And I asked him what he drove, what was in his garage. And it was a car that I really appreciate because it wasn't an obvious choice. And it's in one of my favorite, I guess you could call it a car chase movie. And that's an Audi S8 like they used in Ronin. And so I don't know if that was on any of your
It was
lists.
on an
or not.
original list. It was on an original list, but it
Yeah.
wasn't as it didn't make the final cut, but it could be volume 2.
Sure. Yeah. And to be honest, it probably doesn't fit with these cars. It's not quite the icon. It's an icon for some of us, right?
How about you, Dad? What do you think?
Not
Yeah.
to mention the Audi in iRobot.
Yes.
Yes.
That one,
Right.
got a lot of consideration because
Yeah.
that was the first we saw of what would become the Street R8, that concept car
right.
glowing and floating, and Will Smith and psht and all that.
Yeah.
There were a couple of those Audis that
Yeah.
played strong until we got to volume 1 or 2.
Yeah. How about you,
What
Dad?
about
What do you
The
got?
hot rod from Iron Man.
Into the hot rod from Iron Man. I know the R8 from Iron Man,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
So the
had
hot
the
rod
R8.
from Iron Man is the one where he looks as he's about to paint his suit and he's looking for inspiration.
Oh,
and he
in
goes-
his workshop, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not quite iconic in the same way. I'm just looking for getting out of jail after Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, to be quite honest.
We're trying to pick one to make sure we didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what resonated with you, Dan? Like what were
For me, it was more the detail that came in afterwards. So, like, if there was a car that had a specific route that it took while it was filming, there's the map in there.
which
Right.
is excellent. Yeah.
The Bullet was an example of that, where you had the streets of mapped out in terms of the route from. So it was the level of detail versus the actual cars, but you can't go wrong with a Bond car, can you? It's
Yeah.
a number of those cars should have won Best Supporting Actor and got an Oscar. I think.
So guys, I'm a graphic designer by training and really a print guy at heart.
Cool.
So I know a good book when I see one, and your book is just really beautifully done. I don't know what they call it, but whenever you have the silver on the edges of the pages,
Foil,
there's a
the silver foil. Yeah.
foil, right. I mean, it's always a good sign, but it's really a visual book with a ton of photos and what was that process like tracking that stuff down and then I guess getting the rights to use these things?
Well,
too. It must have just been
Yeah. Well, I will say that there is one person who is not often mentioned, but is the probably most important person in the book itself, and it really made it happen. And it's the publisher of Tra, who actually did all the graphic design by herself, the entire thing, did all the screen captures and found every image,
oh wow.
corralled myself, Matt, and Chris, 3 wild cards, into making this book in a really compressed time. And I also say she's my wife and soulmate. So, we, but she watched all 50 films because there were 50 in the beginning. Each one took her 3 hours because she would screen capture things, and then she coordinated with the artists. She laid out all the graphic design, and it's my wife Ilona and Matt. I don't know. I leave it to you a little bit. you know.
It's absolutely true, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that just because he's here and just because she's his wife, but Alona was absolutely our fearless leader
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
project, and she drove every aspect of it seamlessly. And it was, as you can imagine, a tremendous amount of work. And for the benefit of listeners and readers, I also want to recognize our film critic and film author, Chris Nashawati, who's not on the call with us.
Yeah.
Chris is a lovely guy with a wicked sense of humor
Yeah,
and
it's so
knows
great.
film like you can't
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
And he got some of these great interviews for us. And
Yeah.
he wrote the cultural imperative capsule for each of the films. You know, because I'm the car guy. I
Yeah.
wrote the car stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Chad got a lot of great interviews and made some visits and stuff. And then and Chris is the cultural imperative guy, former editor of Entertainment Weekly magazine,
Wow. Okay.
knows this stuff dead cold.
Yeah.
And he told us what the film was about, why it mattered or why it didn't,
Yeah.
who directed it and who produced it, and why that person was cast over this person, and who drove the car. And you know, this one, because the reason the Porsche in 16 Candles has an automatic is because the actor doesn't drive a stick.
I
So,
wondered
you know-
about that for years.
Yeah.
I was
car
so
was-
disappointed.
That car was in the 50. I will
Was
say.
it? Okay. Interesting.
And it will have to be. And one of the guys in my architecture office actually has that exact car.
Get out.
Jake's car. Yeah. So
Really? Really?
Wow.
Well, how many transaxle Porsches, I guess, can you have in one book, right?
yeah, no, it's an incredible film. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Matt, you bring up some of the interviews, and it is honestly that I think it was one of the most rewarding things for me to interview these incredible people and hear their relations to cars, to the films that they made or were in or designed cars. You know, some of the standouts are, you know, Michael Bay, who is not only a good friend but a client. I designed both his homes.
No kidding.
And in the home, there's a lot of the cars from Transformers. But just hearing Michael tell his incredible stories of his first car and how his father, like in the movie Transformers, took him by like a Porsche dealer because Michael wanted a Porsche so bad, and then drove right by it. Like, are you joking? You're not getting a Porsche. You know, so, but it's just like, I mean, it's really, you know, these interviews are incredible.
Yes.
Yes.
We learned so much from these people, and they really opened up. So a lot of nuggets in there.
Yeah, John Landis
Yeah.
was extremely forthcoming with his
Yeah.
commentary, as was Michael Mann.
Yeah. Yeah.
And boy, there's a heavy duty Hollywood dude right there.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And they spent a great deal of time filming that movie in Modena, Italy, a city and a region I particularly love. I love Modena. I mean, if I die there, don't move me because I'm already in heaven.
Nice.
I'm already in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Michael and I were talking about restaurants we both ate
Really?
at you know, because he's there with the film and I'm just there on
Yeah.
vacation and
Yeah.
screwing around with my car friends, and
Yeah.
we went to the same restaurant, we just didn't know it.
That's
And it
cool.
was
But
great.
yeah,
That
these guys
interview
were
with-
great.
Yeah, the interview with Michael was one of the few, Matt, that we all were there and did in person. We were at his production office, and Michael's also a good friend. You know, I grew up watching Miami Vice, and
Yeah.
when we do the TV version of this book, which we hope to do, the Ferrari Daytona is going to be in that book.
Yeah.
And you know, it's that was like, you know, so I grew up in New Jersey, and I dressed like Crockett at my 8th grade graduation. You know, and that's how I actually ended up in Miami, by watching Miami Vice, and started my career there. And funny enough, the reason Michael and I became friends is when he came to film the movie, he reached out to me because he had told me, like, your architecture represents the Miami of today. And that was like, such an incredible
wow.
moment because I watched Miami Vice growing up and ended up moving to Miami because of that. So, but it was an incredible interview, and
Oh, yeah.
the amount of knowledge that Michael has about every aspect of the cars and the detail. I remember in the movie, the Ferrari from the movie is not in the book, but I remember when we met, he was flying to Madeira to pick out the color of the Ferrari for the film. So he gets like so into the details, and he's just a true genius in filmmaking.
That car show is brought to you by Sheffield Watches.
The Sheffield watch brand has a long and storied history, but it was revived a couple years back by our good friend and true car guy, Jay Turkbus. Jay was gifted a Sheffield watch by his parents when he was a kid, and he still has it to this day. Jay wanted to make the same experience available to all of us, a reasonably priced, high-quality watch that endures and that we enjoy sharing with our fellow watch enthusiasts and car people.
From divers watches to watches designed for travel to collaboration with automotive pals like Spike Ferriston and Jay Leno, Sheffield has a watch for you. Find your own Sheffield watch at sheffieldwatches.com and at Sheffield_allsport_watches on Instagram. And let Jay know you heard about Sheffield Watches from That Car Show.
That Car Show is proud to partner with Drake Motorcars. Drake Motorcars is Denver's premier destination for exactly the kinds of vehicles that we like here at That Car Show. Think Velocity Broncos, Audi RS6s, Acura NSXs, and air-cooled Porsches. You can see their complete and constantly changing inventory at drakemotorcars.com and check out their amazing online reviews from all across the country. But our friends at Drake need your specialty car too. A sign of a good business is when there are more customers than inventory. So reach out to Drake too if you've got a great enthusiast car that just doesn't get driven like it used to. Find out more at drakemotorcars.com and let them know you heard about them on That Car Show.
It is amazing. Sorry to interrupt you, Ryan,
No.
but just to finish his thought,
Please, yeah.
is you figure, all of these various Hollywood types, we're dropping a lot of names around here, and they're producers, EPs, directors,
Yeah.
art directors, set designers, all of those people, and you figure, okay, they've all got money, they can buy whatever cars they want. Some of those folks don't give a whit about cars.
Yeah.
And then when you find some that do,
Yeah.
it's fascinating. And they know their stuff. They not only have their own personal taste, but that reflects out their knowledge and their passion for cars reflects out in their films and in this book. It was just fascinating. I had a great time. I was chatting with John Landis recently.
As one does, yeah.
And it was, I don't does, but I did that night. And we were talking about the Dodge Monacos, the Bluesmobiles.
Yeah.
And he says, we bought truckloads of those things at a police auction for like $400 a piece. And they said, how many did you destroy? He said, all but one of them, I think.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of fun. But, of course, they jump those things and crash them and burn them and everything else. And something that really struck me, too, is we did this. A lot of the cars in this book and in films are kind of like showroom stock examples. The 928 we talked about from Risky. That's not modified in any way. It's a stock 928. Wonderful thing, wonderful car. Then you have cars like most of the modern Batmobiles, let's call them, and a whole lot of others that are cast and costumed
Yeah.
for this role.
Yeah.
It's no accident the way they look or the way they do or what they do, because they are cast like an actor and they're costumed.
Yeah.
Just like an actor for these roles. And we tried to call those out when that was relevant to what we were talking about in the book. But that to me is when cars become actors.
Yeah.
And they really are.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that if we could. Car casting, the importance of car casting, because there's nothing that'll take you out of a movie faster, at least for a car guy, right, than the wrong car in the wrong era, or just a car that doesn't fit the personality of the, of the protagonist or what have you, right? So maybe some bad examples out there that spring to mind.
Oh, there's a bunch of them, and I'll tell you. And my wife she laughs at me because when I see the wrong car, the wrong year, the wrong something for context in a film, I mean, my butt comes right off the couch, and I go nuts.
Yeah.
It's and there's enough people, continuity people, and set designers that know this stuff.
Yeah.
If not, folks, I'm available.
Yeah, there you go.
But that should not be.
It should.
It should not be, but it sneaks through.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like, well, that's what we had on hand, that's what we had budget for, or that's what we found, or it was part of some product placement thing. It could be any of the above.
Yeah.
But that stuff makes me mental.
So Matt, one of the things that comes to mind is in Michael Bay's interview, where he said when he was making Bad Boys, production designer, he was like, it was his first movie, didn't have a big budget. They didn't have like really tremendous faith in Michael, even though Jerry Bruckheimer believed in Michael, like the sort of cruise and people. So they said, why don't you give Will Smith a Mustang? And Michael was like, this guy cannot be like driving around in a Mustang. And to Matt's point, like the budget was like, I don't know, $500 a week or something. So Michael actually owned that Porsche that was in the film and had it shipped over, and made the car incredibly iconic. In the process.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been nearly the same film without that.
I know.
That's right.
I got to give special credit to the movie Boogie Nights, which I think is some of the best car casting in anything I've ever seen. I can go on and on about just what a wonderful movie that is.
Volume 2.
Volume 2. Okay, good to know. And I mentioned Wes Anderson. I don't know if that was before we started recording or not, but he always does a really good job. The movie Rushmore with the Mercedes 300 TE, the wagon, right, for the teacher. I mean, it's just that was exactly the right car, and it just it really just puts a bow on a movie like that.
Yeah, and I think Bill Murray was in that, right? And he had like a Rolls Royce.
Yeah. Well, Bentley. Yeah, I think it was,
Bentley,
right? But yeah. And he's sitting
just
there
like
with this
the right color, the right,
just right. We're sitting there with his two boys in the back seat, the redheaded twins, and he said, "Never in my my wildest dreams or whatever." Paraphrasing, did I ever think I'd have kids like this? And it's just like it all just came together just so perfectly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, for sure. And then Michael.
Sometimes it really works.
Yeah.
I mean, further
it makes the film. Go ahead, Chad.
Further, because Michael gave a lot of really interesting insights, but in Transformers, how he casts the cars, and he spoke about Bumblebee and how Bumblebee was originally in the cartoon a Volkswagen Beetle, and how he went into General Motors and saw this sort of prototype that they weren't really going to make for the Camaro, and he worked with them and and helped design and finesse things, and then ultimately they produced the car because it became such a big sensation.
Wow.
So really, and then there's another funny story that Michael speaks about, is that he feels like he's made GM billions of dollars because of that, and then he ended up, I think he said he had Bumblebee. So funny enough, when we designed Michael's house in Los Angeles, we had like a prop museum in the lower level, and we have Bumblebee on a turntable because Bumblebee paid for the house.
Wow.
And but the funny part is that the CEO changed somewhere along the line at GM, and they came to Michael and they said he stole the car. And they asked him to buy it, and it was quite expensive. I think it was like $250,000 or $500,000. And he was like, "That's the last time I'm ever using like a GM car in my film."
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
but it is in the house. Yeah.
What? Say it again. Sorry.
It is in the house.
That's so cool. So which I guess came first? These relationships with these directors, or the architecture. Like, what was your entree into? I guess the Hollywood designing for the Hollywood scene.
Yeah, I would say that Michael Mann, Michael Bay, became friends through my architecture practice, and then Mark Newson. We just had some mutual friends in London. My son ended up actually working for him this summer in London, and that was a lot of fun. Dennis McCarthy, who does all the cars for the Fast and the Furious. That was someone that I just reached out to. And then, we have Stephen King, who
come on,
is an incredible, what a incredible honor, and John Landis. So Chris reached out to them. Matt had the relationship with Jay Leno, which was an incredible contribution to the book as well.
Yeah, really liked his intro. I thought it was really heartfelt and genuine, and
And you also had people from the world of motor racing. You had Jeff Gordon, was it?
That's right.
Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. The way I connect, he reached out to me to have us design a home for him in Colorado. And we became friendly through that. And he's just an incredibly great guy, and just obviously legend of the track. And so
and he talks about the Disney film Cars, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was really great to have that, and that was something. There was something controversial, I guess, Matt, for Jay Leno was like. Why it's
Jay,
like
Jay
lightning?
Leno,
Why is lightning?
Jay picked on Lightning McQueen a little bit. Said, "Okay, it's not even a car."
Oh,
Jay.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and it's in a movie called Cars.
Yeah.
So guess what?
And it probably
it's there.
Probably one of the most loved cars in the history of film.
Yeah.
How many?
And there is one in the Peterson, Dan, right?
Yes, there is. There's a life-size one.
Yeah, and how many Hot Wheels has that movie sold?
Well, there you go.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a whole generation for which that movie will prove to be very important for their future enthusiast, I guess, pursuits.
For sure.
Right. So,
And I got to work with Pixar to do a hotel for them and Disney in Shanghai. So I became friendly with like the designers of all the production designers who did Cars and all the other films. So unfortunately, the guy who did it, he passed away. So one of them, So,
you have the late Marcello Gandini in here as well, which is pretty special. I think we lost him a year ago or so.
About. And
Yeah.
it was we were talking about the Mura in
the Italian Job.
the mini movie, The Italian Job, the original Italian Job, the Mura, that unfortunately has far too short and quick and disastrous a role in that film. But Gandini designed that too. And we decided with him, of course, we did not get to interview him live or in person or anything because he was already gone, but he had so much commentary and interview material out there that we were able to apply it to the Mura and car design, Italian car design in general. And what an unbelievably gifted guy. And if you look at his portfolio of stuff, it's Italian greatest hits.
Yeah, it really is.
He's really a top level man. And too bad we lost him at only, I don't think he was quite 90 yet. He probably had a few more cars in him.
Sure.
Going back to cars, I'll just relate one thing I think a lot of people I hope can relate to. I was one of Paul Newman's last interviews before he passed away about his role in Cars. Because, of course, as you know, he played the fabulous Hudson Hornet. And he also, in the courtroom scene with Owen Wilson's character, with Lightning, he was the judge.
That's right.
Race drivers, I know their type. I want them out of my courtroom, and I want them out of my town.
That was his last movie, wasn't it?
That was his final movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Which
Yeah.
is
Procreate.
and
Yeah.
on the Gandini, you could argue that in theory we wouldn't have the James Bond Lotus Esprit if it wasn't for Gandini starting the wedge era.
True.
Interesting.
That's a very
And-
fair statement.
And you know, just that Countach. I mean, I think like honestly, like in Cannonball Run, when that thing came out, it just like blew my mind, right? And it was just the most out of this world thing, you know, watching this black Countach with the fin on the front, and of course it didn't hurt that there were two very attractive women driving it.
Yeah.
You're stealing all my lines, Chad.
They don't make
I will
movies
say
like that anymore.
Yeah, I actually learned how to drive stick on a Lamborghini Countach.
Stop.
No.
Yes.
So
my
it took me
father-
till I was 50 to drive a Lamborghini with the stick shift. I got to drive a Diablo recently, the very first one. So you learned to drive on a Countach.
I learned to drive stick. My father had one for a moment,
Wow.
and I was about the age, and he took me into a parking lot, and it's kind of an easy car to drive stick because you can go into like 60 miles an hour in first gear. Like, so it's, and you know, there's a very funny story with that car. I grew up in suburban New Jersey, and it was kind of a scene to see that car. Of course, if you know, we're in Miami now, you see them a dime a dozen, but at that time it was a very unique car. It was probably one of the few in New Jersey. And I remember my father tells this story that he was at a stoplight in front of my high school, and it was in the summer, and they took it for a long drive. And this guy pulled up next to him, and he's like, man, that's a hot car, but shouldn't fire be coming out of both tailpipes? and, you know, and my father's like, what's this guy talking about? So they drove home, you know, 5 minutes away. And my father's like, to my mother, like, why don't you take a look at the back? And she kind of popped her head, and he hit the gas, and like fire shot out like the Batmobile.
That's
you know,
amazing.
They were carburetor engines, those old ones, and they were always flooding, and you know, so it was a lot of fun.
That's
I only
fantastic.
drove it once. That was it.
Well, it's one more time than I think Guy or Dan ever did.
Yeah.
So did you have other cars like that growing up? And Matt, too, what did you grow up with in the house?
My dad was a car guy from way back, and you know, he had Fords and hot rods and all kinds of stuff, and then got into sports cars in the late 50s. And I'm an omnivore. You know, I eat all meats, and I think that I garnered that taste from him of learning to find something to appreciate, if not understand, about most any kind of car. I mean, I love old trucks. I love Ferraris.
Yeah,
You know, I'm an omnivore, and we always had cool cars around. My father will remind me of his 1958 Austin Healey that he used to drive until my mother could no longer get in it because she was pregnant with me.
Damn you, Matt Stone. Yeah.
And my father always ribbed me. He says, damn it, you cost me my Healy. Well, I hope it was worth the deal. But anyway, and we went everywhere there was car things happening.
Yeah.
We went to the races, we went to the car shows.
Yeah.
We used to go to the dealerships every fall to get the new brochures. We went to the auto shows. I mean, I was exposed to all of it and found out I liked most of it.
Yeah.
So I give my dad a lot of credit for that, and my mom, I don't know, she put up with it. I think, or you know, tolerated it is maybe a better word.
Sure.
But I was inundated at the deep end from the time I was, you know, old enough to understand what a car was.
Yeah.
And it's a sickness from which I hope I never recover.
Yeah.
Well, as far as sicknesses go.
Yeah. Sorry. So my father, there's like a legendary story that, so my father grew up with like no money whatsoever, but somehow his grandmother remarried, and her husband had some money, and for his 18th birthday, my great grandmother asked him, like, what would you like? And he's like, you know, I'd like a Corvette. She's like, well, why don't you go to the dealership? But it was like 1965 or something like that. and he went and he like put every single option on it, and like he didn't even know how to drive stick, and it was like this legendary story, and I regret him ever selling it. But like when he made it on his own, because when he died, actually all the money disappeared somehow, because I guess he had a lot of debt. But when my father finally like went on his own, he got a Cadillac Seville, and the pride that I could still smell it today, like going in, and he had like the those mat, like from the dealership, like we couldn't even take off the paper mats because, and we couldn't wear our shoes in the car, and it was like, and I remember it was like kind of like it was a silver Cadillac Seville with like a silver interior, and he was the happiest person in the world, and but that was kind of his thing for a while, and then somehow when the Italian lira like devalued, my parents ended up going to Italy, and he bought like for probably hardly anything because the lira was like devalued. He bought a Ferrari Mondial.
Oh, no kidding.
And then somehow he got it, and he didn't like the way it drove, and then ultimately got that Lamborghini for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then sold that, and now he drives an Audi Q5, so it's not that not that exciting.
He's really made it.
From
a fellow Q5 driver.
He went downhill.
Yeah. I love the story about taking your shoes off or whatever in the Cadillac. I was just reminiscing the other day where we remembered how when we would get a car when we were kids, we generally were Volkswagens, new Volkswagens, and we would take road trips, these 12, 13-hour road trips. And the only thing my dad would let us eat in the car were lemon drops, like those hard lemon candies, for fear of, ruining, the Naugahyde or whatever. Diesel.
Well, we had a car that we did a lot of road trips on. So we would go from New Jersey to Vermont in the winter to go skiing, and we used to fly on People's Express. I don't know if any of you guys
I don't know
know what that was, but it was the airline where you like paid when you were on board. They had like a credit card machine, and then somehow we just got caught in the snow. My father ended up buying a Grand Wagoneer with the wood sides.
There you go.
And that was our go-to, like, driver to get up and back and forth to Vermont.
Yeah, every one of us poor kids of a certain age, unfortunately, had a car with Dynoc on the sides in our past. Mine was a Mercury Comet Villager, was my mom's car with the Dynoc wood on the sides, and my dad always drove Lincolns. And you're right, you don't be eating in that Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, Matt, it's funny you say that because Ilona's first car was a Le Baron convertible.
Le Baron, wow.
Well, she would call it Le Baron. Ilona's actually from Switzerland. She's from the German side, but she speaks.
Okay.
Well, so she would always call it Le Baron, and it sounds very nice, but it had wood paneling on the side as well. So
that's a segment of car that just doesn't exist anymore, right? The LeBaron, the Grand Wagoneer, the Buick Riata, like the Oldsmobile, what was it? The Cutlass convertible. These were the cars like upper middle class, sort of aspirational, American, it's just, those cars just don't exist anymore.
The Cordoba.
Don't
forget the Cordoba.
Did that have the Corinthian leather?
They all had it.
Okay.
Whether they had it or not, they probably the owner would always say it had it. Yeah.
Have we ever determined if that was a real thing or if that was just a marketing gimmick?
That was a marketing name.
Okay. All right.
It did not come from Corinthia or from Corinthian cows.
May not have been leather. Who knows?
It was Corinthian marketing.
Yeah.
Corinthian cows.
Yeah. Well, we talked about cars you grew up with. What were the movies? I mean, you wrote this book about cars and movies. What were favorites of yours growing up?
Well, I mean, certainly, I grew up, I was born in 1971. And when I was coming of age to see these things, Roger Moore was my James Bond.
Okay.
We had to include the DB5 just because it's like the classic and it's so elegant and, and Sean Connery just drives it so well. But, that Lotus Esprit that transforms into the submarine was just like, whoa, and of course, the Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit, All
A
the,
favorite of Dan's, I think, isn't it?
oh yeah.
Eastbound and down.
Yeah.
What a great
Great
film.
film.
What a
Yeah.
great film. So, and of course, Ferris Bueller's
Oh,
and
yeah.
Risky Business, and
Let's
I
see.
will say those two movies
Yeah.
made me never want to take out any one of my cars
Yeah.
without explicit permission.
Yes.
That was just too dangerous.
A cautionary tale for a whole generation, Chad.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt, you were saying, I'm sorry.
You said Chad is going to rub it in that he's younger than me.
Oh.
But we'll just forget about that for a minute. In 1968, my father, because he was my father, God bless him, took me to the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood, California,
wow.
to see Bullet.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know if you are at all who's familiar with the Cinerama Dome,
I am, yeah.
but it's the closest thing we had to IMAX at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was giant, tall screens, and I don't know, it must have been 180 degrees, and just killer sound for the time.
Yeah.
And believe me, that green Mustang and that black Charger bouncing down those hills still makes me nauseous.
God, yeah.
I get a queasiness. And of course, naturally, right then and there, I'm going to grow up to be Steve McQueen because he's the baddest dude that there ever was. And I want me a green 68 Mustang GT390 4-speed fastback so I can do burnouts just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Matt, you've written a book about that, right? I mean,
I did. Yeah, I did. I wrote a book about the whole Bullet thing. And believe me, there is more BS, lie, innuendo, and rumor about the making of that film than you can imagine. I mean,
why that film? Why the
I think because that stuff kind of trails Steve McQueen with a long tail.
Yeah.
Rumor, lies, and innuendo, and I always write from the perspective of the car guy and interest, etc. I don't care what kind of cereal they had, who they slept with, what kind of drugs they did. I don't go there.
Sure.
My audience, I believe, could care less.
Yeah.
So I don't get into that. But how many cars were used and what happened to them, and there was one with an automatic, and the secretary from Warner Brothers drove it. I mean, it's just an amazing cloud of BS around the making of Bullet.
Yeah. Huh.
And with his family, the late Chad McQueen, his late son, and his wife and his first wife and his daughter-in-law and grandkids, they said, look, just follow your reporting. Just tell the story right. And that's what I wanted to do with that book because, and I'm not plugging it, but if you really want to know what happened and who built the cars and the stunts that they did and all that jazz, that's in my book.
Plug away. What's the full title? And
the full title is Bullet, the people and the cars behind Steve McQueen. And it's currently in print. You can find it in the Amazon or all those other kind of places.
Sure.
But man, going to the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood with my dad, sitting there watching those cars bounce down those, I'll never forget that.
What a moment of time.
Matt, to add to your story, in the book, the opening page of Bullet is actually not a photo from the movie or a photo from the car, but it's actually this incredible artist from Mexico, and he takes models of the cars and does these incredible photographs
no kidding.
With a lot of special effects. And the Ghostbuster, one of the images in that book, his name is Felix. There's also the DeLorean on the cover. That's one of his images. He makes, well, it's not Photoshop. It's like actual photography with multiple layers, and he makes smoke and this. So he did the Bullet one.
Yeah, good point of story for the book, Chad, because a lot of the openers, particularly as Chad said, are Felix's work, and this guy does it with a camera and a smoke machine and sparklers
Really?
Yeah.
and firecrackers. And I mean, it's all organic.
It's
It's
not AI.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's not
yeah,
AI.
Yeah. It's
Even
better.
photo-
You
And
know?
it's
It's not even
because it's,
Photoshop.
you know
Yeah.
why?
amazing.
Because it's art.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
you
That's
go.
what. And that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
We wanted to add a truly artistic element to
Yeah.
this book
Yeah.
beyond the stuff from the film
Yeah.
and whatever. And so we just, much thanks to Ilona,
Yeah.
who we've talked about a lot and who deserves the credit. I hope she's listening and watching. She worked primarily with this guy, and he gave lots of samples of work. And again, some of the art that you will see is not a direct scene from the film, but it's the car, and it's done in an extremely artistic fashion.
Yeah.
I think
Felix
it's
is
one of
an
the coolest
incredible-
things we have done.
Yeah.
He's an incredible genius in that department, but also, the drawings that you mentioned about the maps and the diagrams, and that was done by a group of artists from Paris, actually. So, yeah, it was calling in people from all over.
Yeah.
And Alona actually put all that stuff together.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing, right? Something, I'm proud to have on my coffee table for sure. It's just really a fantastic achievement, and must be an amazing feeling knowing that you've created this thing. You mentioned two cars. You mentioned the DB5, and you mentioned the Mustang from Bullitt. If you had to pick one, right, what rises to the top? And I think either one of those might be proper candidates, but what does it for you? What's
Car,
number
like
one?
as a daily
Yeah.
driver, or as
I mean, you have the DeLorean. Well, you have the DeLorean on the cover, right? You have the Back to the Future DeLorean. So maybe that, is the most iconic of all movie cars.
Surely if I could get a car that is also a time machine, I might.
I mean, come on,
With a flux capacitor.
I very personally believe, even though I wrote the book about Bullitt, that the absolute quintessential ultimate
the
knee
word,
plus ultra movie car is the DB5.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Stop from there. A lot of other great ones, but nothing set a high water mark for class and cool and bitchinness and creativity and everything else for a movie car that truly was cast, costumed, and built for that role, and stole the film in the process.
Yeah.
It's the DB5, which has appeared in only 9 more James Bond movies for little cameos. People say, "Oh, they forgot it." People forgot about that car. No, they didn't.
But Matt, I think to that point, when that car showed up on, I mean, it was before I was born, but when that car, my parents tell me about it all the time. When that car showed, no one had seen anything like that, right? I mean, today, you can see every car that has been modified or built, right? In a few clicks of your thumbs. But that was what the, what are you saying?
Mind truly blown. No question about that. And ejector seat. You must be joking.
I know they had the racing history as well, but I wonder if we would still have Aston Martin as they are today if it wasn't for that franchise.
Interesting. Yeah, it's always surprising to me, Dan, that they oscillated off of Aston Martin and went to BMW and other cars as well. It just felt like more, I guess, product placement or something.
Yeah, to your point, Dan, Aston Martin was struggling in the 60s. And it took all their resources to get the DB5 to come out, to make it to market.
Yeah.
And being very astute was Sir David Brown and other people there saying, we have the chance for free to put our new car in this certainly worldwide hit film with the greatest Scot-Irish-British actor of the time, perhaps. And they recognized the opportunity to do this. And it probably at the time saved the company.
Yeah, wow.
Now, it's a true fact. There's lots of financial documentation about this. I mean, is that why they stayed with it? It was a good thing, and it lasted a lot of years, and then they came back to it. But at the beginning, Aston Martin was skating on very thin financial ice.
Yeah.
Through pure determination and grit, they got the DB5 to market and launched it in Goldfinger. And that at the time probably likely saved the company.
Yeah. But I would say, like, I think it would, maybe it was a financial play because it's the most valuable, but it would probably be not the replica Ferrari, but the real one from Ferris Bueller's.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun fact on that is that the replica was automatic because Broderick couldn't drive stick.
Yes. That's a little tidbit in the book.
Huh.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
That it was sick.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, as a child of the 80s, I like exactly what's on the cover. To me, that is kind of the movie car, right? It is the DeLorean. I don't know if it's the same for you, Dan.
I think because of the British connection, the Aston Martin, but it's a close. But that was almost a Mustang as well, wasn't it? It was almost a fridge, and then it was almost a Mustang.
Oh.
And luckily, it became a DeLorean, which is iconic.
And Dad, you know why it wasn't the fridge?
Go on.
So Steven Spielberg was the producer on the film, and he thought that children would try to, go into a refrigerator to time travel, and he was afraid that kids would get stuck in refrigerators and you'd find them years later.
Yeah.
So
it was health and safety.
Huh.
yeah. I think the DeLorean's a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know how you get a fridge to go 88 miles an hour.
And it was probably tough at the time to get a DeLorean to go 88 miles an hour.
Yeah.
In such a short little space of that street.
Sure.
But yeah, movie magic.
That's an example of a car that, the performance doesn't necessarily match its visual power.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what's next for you guys? Where do you go from here? This seems to me like it's maybe the second in a series. We talked about Lair. We've got Ride. Is there something
I think there's
next?
Ride Volume 2, probably.
Okay.
And then there's a Ride about television where
the small screen. If that's a fair analogy anymore, because some people have screens that are not small.
That's the truth.
But no matter, icons of the smaller screen. I mean, we could start with the original Batmobile and have a list of 150 like that. And we've all fantasized about it and thought about it already. And I would say Chad's correct. If logic followed process, the next would be, another Ride 2. Ride the continuation, Volume 2, because there's so much we left on the table and so much more fun to be had with great films, great actors, and great cars.
If everyone wants to see it, you got to buy rides.
That's right. That's
we can afford to ride again.
It's a pretty great thing. You know what I love about this? Just like in a very serious and sometimes complicated world, this is just like a fun thing, right? This is just like a time to check out and just relax and enjoy yourself. This is
I
really
think
impressive achievement.
It's like obviously the cars, but it's also like the films and I think that's. It's really right. Given your graphic background, it's really a truly beautiful page turning experience, and we're really excited about it, and love to turn through the pages and go back and feel the emotions that we've all felt for all these films and these experiences that kind of combine, to make a incredible moment in books.
A friend of mine who just got the book a week or so ago was talking to my wife today and told her, says, after reading about this segment, I want to go back and watch the movie.
Yeah, that's what I found. I forgot
about that. Or I didn't know that. And I've never seen that movie, or I didn't know about that car. So we all celebrate with film, and I live and breathe cars 24/8, and this is absolute celebrational joy for me, and I think it was for the rest of our team. We had such a blast.
Yeah.
If you have as much fun reading it as we did doing it, then we've done our job.
Well, celebration is the word. And that's what this is. It's a celebration of Cars from the Silver Screen. Well done to you both and to Chris as well. I'm sure there are a lot of folks listening who want to buy this for themselves or maybe gift it. Holiday season's coming up. So again, ride the most iconic wheels of the silver screen. What's the best way to do it? Is it best to go directly to is it just TRA Publishing?
TRA Publishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Art backwards is what I read.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You know, there's a bunch of places, of course, you know, your local bookstore, you know, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. TRA has some limited edition ones with a slipcover that
Cool.
I don't know how many they have left, but on their website it's there. And then, you know, if you can go to the Peterson Museum and buy an autograph book by you know, Chris, Matt, and myself.
Nice.
In Miami, you know, there's a lot of local bookstores like Books and Books.
It's
in
everywhere.
Miami.
One that you'll know probably, Dan, in Burbank is Auto Books. Are you familiar with Auto Books in Burbank?
Yeah.
I was just there last week. We did a book signing and did very well. And I'm there all the time, and I sign books for people. And if you ever want an autograph copy, Tina from Auto Books will arrange that. And probably the quickest and dirtiest way to get it is Amazon, because it'll be here in a couple of days in time to get gift wrapped.
Yeah.
If that happens to be your motivation. But like Chad said, you look around at any place you buy books, you'll probably find it.
Yeah, it's doing really well.
Foley in New York, I had done a book signing there. We're doing another book signing in San Francisco at the beginning of the year. So we're really excited to share this. I mean, it's just so satisfying to like people to tell you how they love the book and they're gonna buy it for this person and that person, and so it's really great. So
I should say TRA Publishing too just has a bunch of really good books, right? In all sincerity, I love gifting books, and I think you can probably find just about something for everyone at TRA Publishing.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff, and a lot of good cookbooks, a lot of good art books, you know, and there's even some stuff on our architecture of interest.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so TRApublishing.com.
To your point, Chad, I was going to say there are some of those cookbooks on my very own kitchen bookshelf, and they are fabulous. Some very, very interesting styles of stuff and food and things to cook, and they're all just beautifully illustrated and descripted. So if that's your taste, you'll find a lot to enjoy at TRA.
Yeah, just beautiful books, you know. Where do we find you guys on social media?
I'm at Chad Oppenheim, one word, or Oppenheim Architecture is more where we post our work.
I don't do a lot of anti-social media, but I do have a website that does not take your credit card. It's just about information and cars and fun and stories from me, and called mattstonecars.com. Please visit. It's my biography, a bunch of stories I've written and books I've done, and, you know, and hopefully something that everybody will find to read and enjoy, and you don't have to spend any money to do so. Just please drop in.
Yeah. Well, so lucky to have had you here tonight, guys. Chad Oppenheim and Matt Stone, thank you for joining us tonight. The book is Ride, the most iconic wheels of the silver screen. We're That Car Show. I'm Ryan. Thank you, Dan.
And remember, always be driving.
I'm with Dan.